how can I leave my marriage without risking my newly sober daughter's recovery?
I don't know that you can. I don't even know what the situation is, but I don't know that you can.
I realize that's worded kind of strangely. I guess the question really is, should I? I mean, I guess at this point I'm feeling like I really better not. But I can give you a little background if that helps.
Well, before we get to the background, I don't want to complicate it because this feels pretty straightforward. Why do you need to leave your marriage?
Well, I want to emphasize that really has nothing to do with the whole last 10 years that, our family and our daughter have been through. In parallel, our marriage has had problems. I've been married for 30 years, and
just tell me, why do you want to leave your marriage? Why do you need to leave your marriage?
I want to leave my marriage because I have things that I can't seem to get through or get over, and we're not talking adultery or abuse, just a lot of other things. And I feel like my husband is just extremely apathetic about the things that I think we would need to do to have a better marriage.
Does he know those things?
Yes.
He's just looking at you and saying, yeah, I'm not doing that.
He's looking at me and saying, I don't think anything will help.
Okay.
He said, I don't think you will ever get over the things you're upset about, and I don't see that there's anything I can do. But he doesn't take any steps to end the marriage. He doesn't take any steps to do the things that, basically what I've been asking for is some intensive marriage counseling. Mm-hmm. And he just continually kind of fails to act.
Okay. So you're going to leave your marriage. How old is your daughter?
She's 28.
Does she live with you?
No, she does not.
Okay. How long has she been sober?
She's only about 4 months.
Okay.
So she's been through her entire adult life. I mean, in some ways, she's almost a 16-year-old, even though she's 28, because she hasn't had any functioning adult life. She's been through just unspeakably horrific things for the last 10 years of her life. And so she is the child of we have 4 children. She's the one who really deep down family has always meant the most to our marriage. And if she detects that things aren't well, that's, I think, been more upsetting to her than the other kids. And that's why I kind of feel like I don't know that I can do anything at this. I mean, I just can't see risking her recovery. I mean, that means more to me than anything else. But I don't know if that's the right decision.
Man, I would need a lot more context here. But
okay.
Just on the outset, the fact that you're not going to make an adult decision because of what your 28-year-old daughter, who doesn't live with you, may or may not do, tells me the enmeshment between y'all two and whatever other messiness that's happened over the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years runs real deep.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the deal. If your daughter is only sober at 28 years old because everyone around her is playing this sophisticated game of charades, her sobriety is going to fail in a dramatic fashion.
Yeah.
If she's 4 months sober because she is tired of the unspeakable things of her, she's just ready to have a different life. If you're around newly sober people who are on the path, dude, you can't shake them off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
It sounds like there's so much more going on here. When you say unspeakable things over the last 10 years, what are you talking about? Since she was 18 years old till now.
The things that, the things that women generally end up needing to do to maintain their using. She's been raped. She's had to prostitute herself. She's been chained up to a safe full of drugs in a garage. There's been horrible, horrible things. And when I think about what she's been through, I just don't want to do anything to shake how she's doing right now.
Okay.
To complicate things, she is also pregnant right now.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got, a lot of hard things coming up. I understand I need to separate, my life from hers. And I actually do feel that I've done that very well over the last several years. But I also do feel a responsibility, I guess, in a way for what she's been through.
So that responsibility to a 28-year-old will come through direct, honest conversation, compassion, and presence, not through dishonesty and lying.
Right. I don't feel like I'm being dishonest. I just feel like I'm failing. I'm just in limbo, failing to act because I don't want to.
I don't think you're super certain about this divorce. Like you're so frustrated and annoyed at the end of your rope, but you're looking for some external things to keep this thing hanging on because you're about to pull the ripcord on something.
Yeah.
And my challenge to you would be don't put that on your daughter.
Right.
What do you hope is different? What would intensive marriage counseling get you and your husband?
I guess I have a hard time letting go of things that I'm resentful for, and I haven't been able to do that on my own. And I haven't been able to do it because my husband, when we talk, I don't really get an apology for things that have happened. I get defending of things that have happened, and then that kind of just perpetuates the resentment. And so
yeah, but that's an invitation.
Third person.
That is a choice you're making.
Well,
yes.
I know that in my head, but it's still there. I would love to let everything go.
It's not about letting everything go. It's about metabolizing it. Like it's in your system, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you think if he comes and says, I'm so sorry, you're right, I screwed this up, that somehow your feelings will suddenly dissipate, that suddenly your body will be able to digest it.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
Okay.
You have to decide, I'm not hanging on to this anymore. I'm going to do the work that I need to do. Because by the way, y'all are going to go get divorced. You're going to split up your assets after 30 years. You're going to divide this stuff up. You're going to figure out how to eat, all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you have a job. You're going to have an apartment. Like everything in your life's going to change. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing. I'm just saying every single component of your life's going to change.
Right.
You're going to come home to an empty apartment, and the things he did and said are still going to be in the middle of your chest.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever those things happen to be. He said he's not abusive, so I don't know what those things are, but they're there.
Yeah.
And so at some point, you're going to have to do the work anyway.
Okay, but how do I go forward? If I've been just endlessly debating all this in my head for honestly years.
Have you sat with a counselor and said, here's the problems in my life?
Yes.
And what if your counselor said, leave this man?
No, it hasn't been very helpful. Well, I've actually gone to two different ones. One with him, one without him. The one that I have done a little bit with him and then met separately with this counselor as well.
So he's
kind of
been
just
to
says,
therapy with
"Be
you.
nice." Very minimally. And I've always had to make the appointment. I've always had to remind him of the appointment. And then he usually fails to act on whatever assignment we were given in the appointment.
Okay, so here's what I'm hearing. Your daughter's been through absolute abject hell.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a lump on a log as a husband. And my guess is that there's 50 other things going on in your life too. This is just a short phone call.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
What I want you to do for maybe the first time in your life is to get out a piece of computer paper off a printer somewhere, just a blank sheet of paper.
Okay.
And I want you to take a pen and not in a blaming way. Please, God, hear me say it's not about blame.
Okay.
It's about ownership. What can I control here?
Mm-hmm.
And the beautiful thing is it is both humbling and limiting and terrifying because you will realize I cannot control what my husband does, period.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot control whether my daughter stays sober or not. I don't have that kind of power. She's a 28-year-old about to be a new mother with extraordinary trauma
Mm-hmm.
in her past. And your other kids and your financial situation and whatever else has happened in the past. What can I actually take ownership of right now? If my husband's a lump on a log and he's not going to change, I have a choice to make. This is my life.
Right.
I'm going to make him a cup of coffee. I'm going to go about my days. He said some stuff 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm done carrying that around. I like him. He's annoying. I wish he'd lose some weight. And I wish he would get a different job, but it is what it is, what it is. Or leave. But every day there's been a pot on the stove of old stew and you keep heating it back up and then you just are like, ugh. You don't ever either eat it or just throw the stew out.
Right.
So what I want you to do is to stop being a person who's receiving all of these external things. I can't do it because of this, and he won't do that, and she might do this, and then there's this thing over here, and then I don't like the dad of the new baby. What can you take ownership of in your life? What can you control? Write that on a piece of paper. And then begin to take action steps towards those very, very few things. Your thoughts and your actions, by the way, are all you got of what you can control, what you can impact next. That's it. That's it. And it's so frustrating at how little it is, but it's also so freeing. This is all I can go do. And before you file for divorce, have a friend sit down with you and go through finances, where you're going to live, family stuff, inheritances, vacations, holidays, and see if the juice is worth the squeeze. You've been married 30 years, and he may have gone to counseling and been like, this is a waste of my time. Because we get home, she's just going to X, Y, the same. If you went and saw a therapist, and the therapist's like, hey, why don't you just treat each other nicer? And you're like, no, that's not it. Maybe. I don't know. What can you control? And what can you act on next? But if you want to leave your husband, don't put that on your daughter. And if you want to leave your husband, get some wisdom and guidance. But I'd recommend before you go do that, taking a few other steps to see if this is really what I want to do. And if maybe by changing my thoughts and my actions and my day-to-day interactions with people and my day-to-day behaviors, if suddenly the light doesn't begin to come on in this home and in my own chest and in my own room and in my own life without the light coming from the blast of blowing everything up. Just a thought.